You ever get that weird feeling, the one where the world seems to know exactly what you want, maybe even before you do? Like an ad pops up for something you were just thinking about? Yeah, that's no coincidence. Look, every single day you make hundreds of choices. Or at least that's what it feels like. You pick your coffee, your playlist, what you're going to buy next. You're in complete control, right? But what if that feeling of being in control, is actually the most sophisticated product you're being sold? A perfectly designed sensation just to keep you from noticing what's really going on. What if I told you that from the layout of a grocery store all the way to the glow of your phone screen, you're being guided, nudged, steered toward decisions that were made for you a long, long time ago? This isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is the modern business playbook. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down the exact strategies they use so you can finally see the board for what it really is. So let's kick things off with the most subtle tricks in the book, the ones that make you feel like a genius for picking the exact thing they wanted you to pick all along. All right, first up, choice architecture. This is fascinating because it doesn't actually take away your choice. No. It just builds this beautiful, perfectly lit four-lane highway to one specific option, while leaving all the others on some bumpy, forgotten dirt road. I mean, you can still go there, but why would you? Think about pretty much any subscription service you've ever signed up for. You almost always see three tiers, right? The first one's cheap, but it's kind of useless, missing all the good stuff. The third one is just outrageously expensive, meant for giant corporations. And then right there in the middle? Ah, there it is, the Goldilocks option. It feels like the smart, logical move. Well, it's not. It's the target. The other two are just decoys, set up to make that middle one seem absolutely irresistible. Now, framing the options like that is just step one. Step two is tapping into one of our most ancient, hardwired survival instincts. Whatever you do, don't get left behind by the tribe. You've seen these labels a million times. These aren't just labels. They're weapons of something called social proof. See, our brains love to take shortcuts, and if everyone else is doing it, it must be good is pretty much the oldest shortcut there is. It's why we'll trust a restaurant with a line out the door, and companies totally weaponize this. They know that your fear of missing out can be way more powerful than your own common sense. And hey, if that little nudge of belonging doesn't quite work, they can always just crank up the pressure. This quote right here perfectly captures the philosophy behind one of their most aggressive tactics. Scarcity. This one is brutal. It completely bypasses the logical part of your brain and talks directly to your primal fear center. A countdown timer doesn't give you time to think, it forces you to feel. Only two left triggers a little panic that someone else is going to get your thing. Limited edition makes a totally ordinary product feel like some kind of rare treasure. So what's the bottom line? They create an artificial crisis that only a quick purchase can solve. Okay, so if those tactics are the ground game, what's happening on our screens? Well, that's a whole other level. Welcome to the digital world, where these ideas have been turned into a literal science of addiction. Let's just be honest for a second. Most social media apps and games, they're not built to serve you. They're built to hook you. The goal isn't your happiness or your productivity. The goal is your time and your attention, because that's the currency they turn around and sell to advertisers. And here are the three main tools they use. Infinite scroll. It gets rid of any natural stopping point, any moment where you might ask, hey, what am I even doing? Notifications are those irresistible little pings that just pull you right back in. But the real masterstroke is random rewards. It works exactly like a slot machine in Vegas. That unpredictable nature of seeing a great post or getting a ton of likes, it floods your brain with dopamine. That's the pleasure chemical. So you just keep pulling the lever, refreshing the feed, chasing that next little hit. And while you're scrolling and scrolling, you're leaving behind a trail of digital breadcrumbs. Every single like, every share, every search, every second you pause on a photo, it's all being collected. And this isn't just a boring log of your actions, it's a living, breathing blueprint of your hopes, your fears, and all your insecurities. So here's how it all comes together. An AI doesn't just see what you did, it predicts what you're going to do next. It can figure out when you're feeling lonely, or bored, or anxious. And right at that exact moment of peak emotional vulnerability, boom, it serves you the perfect ad, the one that doesn't just feel targeted, it feels like it's reading your soul. And that intense level of personalization brings us to the final level of this game, where companies stop selling you things and start selling you a better version of yourself. So here's the absolute key.
The greatest brands out there, they know you're not actually buying a thing. You're buying the emotion, the identity, the story that thing tells the rest of the world about who you are.
These are the real products being sold. I mean, Nike isn't selling shoes. It's selling the identity of an athlete. Apple isn't just selling a phone, it's selling creativity and status. Red Bull isn't selling a canned drink, it's selling adrenaline and a life without limits. They find a core human emotion, anchor their product to it, and once they make that connection, well, logic doesn't really stand a chance. And once they've got you hooked emotionally, they find a way to keep you there financially. It's called the sunk cost trap. It's the reason you keep paying for that gym membership you never use or that streaming service you totally forgot you had. Our brains just hate losing. Quitting feels like admitting we wasted our money, so instead we throw more money at the problem, just digging ourselves deeper and deeper. Okay, I know, seeing all this laid out can feel pretty bleak. Like we're all just puppets on a string. But here is the single most important takeaway from all of this. You are holding the key to breaking free.
The real power of all these techniques comes from the fact that they're invisible. They work best when you're on autopilot, just scrolling, shopping, clicking away without really thinking. They count on you not seeing the gears turning behind the scenes.
And that right there is the solution. Awareness is your superpower. Seriously. The second you recognize that a countdown timer is just false urgency, or that bestseller tag is just social proof, the spell is broken. You're no longer the piece being played. You're the player who can see the entire board. So I want you to start looking for this stuff out in the wild. Notice it. Call it out in your own head. And I'm really curious, which one of these strategies we talked about today was the biggest eye-opener for you? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, if this explainer helped you see things just a little differently, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Because once you understand the game, you get to write your own rules.